A few days ago, the Nigerian House of Reps rejected a bill seeking to stop children of public officials from schooling abroad. The bill, sponsored by my brilliant friend, Honorable Sergius Ogun, was not passed because the members saw it as an affront to their fundamental human rights. In other words, their rights are very different from that of the masses. Seeing then that we have a great high priest that is passed into the heavens, Jesus the Son of God, let us hold fast our profession. For we have not an high priest which cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted, like as we are, yet without sin. Let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. Honorable Sergius was trying to pass a bill that will ensure that public servants will feel our pains and do the needful by improving the educational sector. It was a watered-down version of the Nigerian Patriot Act I had introduced in the public domain 2 years ago, because he was obviously mindful of the sensibilities of his colleagues and wanted to ensure it was passed. It was still not passed. The legislator is a high priest in the parliament who is supposed to make laws for the well-being of everyone. He's supposed to be a mediator between the masses and government. He advocates on behalf of his people to government. This is why you see them representing different constituencies in the parliament. The most important role of the high priest in ancient Israel was to conduct the service on the Day of Atonement, which is the 10th day of the 7th month of every year. He was the only one allowed to enter the most holy place behind the veil to stand before God. Having made the sacrifice for himself and for the people, he then brought the blood into the Holy of Holies. That's God's throne. He did this to make atonement for himself and the people for all their sins committed during the year just ended. It is this particular service that is compared to the ministry of Jesus as our high priest in Hebrews chapter 9. The lawyer is a high priest in the temple of justice, pleading the case of his clients. The judge is also a high priest in that same temple of justice, as he considers mitigating circumstances and tempers justice with mercy. Many a mother has been a high priest for the child as she jumps in front of the whip and pleads with her husband on behalf of the errant child. Many a parent has been a high priest in the place of intercession on behalf of their children as they journey through life. The high priest is he who stands in the place of intercession, advocacy, charity, mercy, justice, and compassion on behalf of others. Where, therefore, are the high priests in the land? Are we blind to the rot and wickedness in our nation? Are we deaf to the cries of the poor? Are we dumb that we can't advocate on behalf of the helpless and hopeless? Open your eyes and see the suffering around you. Your domestic help is barely alive, but you can't see. Your staff have been struggling with increase in transportation and foodstuff. But it is none of your business. Millions of Nigerians have been without fuel, light, and water for weeks, but the high priests in government look the other way. We have sown bitterness, cruelty, hatred, and strife, so we now reap evil. Blood flows freely on our streets while we all look the other way. Where are the high priests? Where are those who have said they are priests in the temple of the Lord? Where are the Christians in a time of hopelessness? Where are the Christians who will make intercession on behalf of the downtrodden? Nobody. There's another high priest who has been touched by our infirmities and knows our pains. He's not the kind of high priest who will send his children to foreign schools while the schools in his kingdom rots. He's not the kind of high priest to reject a bill that seeks to ensure equality and better schools for all. Psalm 110 is a short psalm of only 7 verses, yet it is the most quoted psalm in the New Testament, where verse 1 alone is quoted 7 times, and the whole psalm is quoted or alluded to 27 times. It is a prophetic psalm that talks about this high priest. his ascension, and most importantly, his return at the end of the age. It is written by King David as he hears a conversation between God the Father and his Son. The Father is telling Yehoshua to sit at his right hand until his enemies are made a footstool for his feet. This psalm pictures Jesus first as Lord, then as King, then as priest, and finally as judge. Verse 4 of this psalm reads, "The Lord hath sworn and will not repent. Thou art a priest forever, after the order of Melchizedek." What does this mean? Why did God have to swear? This is very simple. It's all about hope. God is saying to you that come what may, come whatever trials and tribulations, come any failed government, come any failed marriage, come any sorrow and pain, come any delays in life, come anything whatsoever, right or wrong, Jesus will be right there by his side, interceding on your behalf. Knowing this, therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that you may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. In the midst of your storm, find this high priest and obtain mercy. God bless you.